Welcome to The Founder, a show that drives towards inspiring a generation of creators through a tiny thought that started out from these founders. Well, today we have the absolute pleasure of sharing the brilliant story of Yakoob, who is a coach, a professional MMA fighter, a Muay Thai fighter, and a national champion. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Well, how are you feeling?
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm feeling really great and pumped.
All right. So jumping into the first question, who is Yakoob without a title?
A normal person without any sort of martial arts background or maybe sport background or maybe fitness. A person who is I believe generous or maybe kind. Yeah.
All right. So how did you become interested in MMA and what inspired you to become a coach and a fighter?
Well, I have a sport background. My family, my dad is into gymnastics and my brother is into karate. So I used to be a chubby kid back in school. Okay. Then after my O levels, I started kung fu. It wasn't planned or anything. It just I was a bit interested, and then I just went for classes. After some time, I was really very much interested in that. So since then, I've been come this far with different martial arts, not only kickboxing or MMA or anything. It's just that that martial arts itself just took me in,
Sure.
So I was very much interested, and then after some time I just want to be a fighter.
Okay. All right. So what is your training philosophy as a coach or either a fighter? How do you approach developing fighting, or how do you improve your skills in this area?
You have to train hard, okay, if you want to be a fighter. It's not like you go to a gym and lifting weights. Fighting is different.
Yeah.
Okay, fighting is totally different. It's about hurting someone, hurting your opponent. It's a sport, so it's a fight sport. You have to hurt, okay, but not in a bad way, okay. But also, if when you get hurt, you should be able to go longer. I mean, you need to have a heart. And you need to have your good mental strength, okay, as well as the physical strength as well. But mostly it's the mentality.
Yeah.
And to be a good fighter, you have to train properly with the proper coach. If you don't train properly, or if your basics are wrong, it's going to be a very long journey for you to come up.
Okay.
And training is important, and also recovery is important, and then training in a professional way is also important. So these things play a main role on becoming a good fighter or maybe a good coach. To be a good coach, you should have fought. If you haven't fought, you can't be a coach, right? At least you should have some sort of experience where you will become a coach and you can train the young fighters or maybe young people.
Okay.
If you haven't experienced it, you can't pass it to someone else.
True.
It's if you haven't practiced medicine, you can't apply on the patients, right? You should have some sort of experience, right? It's not like you hold patch for someone and then become a coach or fighting. Fighting is totally different than any other sport. It's a martial arts because not like ball game, It's good for psychologically. In different ways.
Yeah.
So there's so many things included in that question, but so that I think that will be a simple, easy answer for people to understand.
So what are the key qualities or skills that you believe are necessary for the success in MMA?
So it's not only MMA. It's when you take combat sports, it's the same. So to the key qualities, you have to be mentally strong. Okay, as well as physically also you have to be strong, but the mentality is very important. Okay, but to gain that sort of a mental strength, you need to train. You have to train with different people, different caliber of fighters, or maybe different way of training. So that is very important if you take fighting, because if you don't have a good mental strength, then you kind of you tend to step back.
Yeah.
You should be able to get hit and still go forward. So because it's the nature of the sport.
Yeah.
So that sort of quality is really important, and also the obviously fitness and the other sort of like other parts as well.
Can you share a memorable moment or a very specific highlight in your career as a coach or a fighter?
Yes, when I was in Dubai, I had a fight. So before the fight, I kind of got injured in my ribs. There was a pain, and then it was a pretty kind of sharp pain. So I had to. My fight was it was in 2 days. So I have to anyway fight. So I didn't cancel the fight. I just somehow I fought and I won it because I was able to kind of hide my injury. Yeah.
Alright. What sort of advice would you give, for aspiring fighters out there who just are starting out their career in, their MMA journey?
Yeah, it's a good question because now everyone wants to be a fighter, right? Everyone who put gloves and do a few rounds in the, I don't know, just getting bit weird now, okay, especially in Sri Lanka.
Alright.
Because I have fought in Dubai and Thailand, and then I've seen that side of professional level as well. People has to be very humble, and then for example students or maybe the fighters who want to be upcoming fighters has to be humble, and then they have to they need to learn and then go slowly without just trying to brag themselves or show off or especially in social media. So they have only 4 local fights, and then they just portray themselves as pro fighters, and have fought in more fights and that sort of stuff. So they have to be very humble, learn the basics, and just just take it easy and go on the sports journey.
Okay, that's very interesting. How do you, when you're in a fight, how do you assess the strengths and weaknesses of your opponent or your fighters so that you know what it is that you have to do?
Depends, because if I can't identify in the first round, it will take some time, because the more I engage with him, the more I learn about him, right? The more I learn, that means if we get a couple of shots, or maybe if we get attacked, let's say punches or kicks, any sort of striking, if he's kind of stepping back, that means his mentality is kind of getting broken down, because that's one way to identify, and then that's the point where I can go in. Because in fighting, your heart is very important, because it's about getting hurt. So if you get hurt, you still have to maintain it. You can't show the injury, for example. If they show the injury and I know that there's an injury, then it's an advantage for me to go onto it, or maybe attack more, because I know that's the weakest time, then I will take advantage of that. Likewise, if I have injuries, I don't show it. I try to not to show it.
So how do you go to create a very supportive and motivating training environment for your students and your fighters?
Okay, I have to be the coach where I push these students, not all the time in a hard way, but it has to be flexible, because I should understand each person's capability and the level, because if I push everyone the same level, they're going to end up in injuries, or maybe they might not continue, or maybe that's not the way to approach, and especially if it's a beginners or maybe intermediate people. Unless it's pro fighters or people who have already fought, or maybe who have experience, then it's a different story, because I can push until to the maximum level. But it's more into understanding each person in different way, and pushing and training them in different level, and I should know to put them in different partner, or maybe I do customize it. So that comes with the experience. Anyone who start coaching within months can't do that, because it has to be experience. You need to learn the art of coaching, especially with other clients. For example, when it comes to VIP clients or maybe personal training sessions, it's a different story. When it comes to this fighting caliber people, it's a different story, because I'm going to go hard on them. I'm going to go on soft on the other people who do for fitness.
So what are your long-term goals as a coach and also fighter for yourself?
Like I said before, I come from a sport background as well as a mechanic, technical side as well. So I used to be an ex-mechanic, but now I switched it to full-time sport and fitness and fighting. Long time is obviously going to be mostly in fighting.
Okay.
So I have more time to fight. So
Yeah.
I'm still not old. So I'm young. So I'm gonna move. I'm gonna fight more,
Yeah.
and then eventually I'm gonna do the coaching.
Okay.
So at some point I will have to retire.
Yeah.
So then I will be doing the coaching full time.
Yeah.
Plus I might do some mechanics or maybe whatever the other sort of interested subject, which is more probably electronics or some, you know. So but for now, fighting and coaching. It's
Alright.
gonna take some time for sure.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being with us here today and sharing your experiences.
Thank you so much for having me here, and really I'm I'm really happy to share my thoughts and like about the fight industry and information, etc.
Alright, so stay tuned in as we journey through the far corners of Sri Lanka to unveil the founder in you. That's it for today. This is Tasha Raninuki, and I hope you have a nice day.